My client Donald went from 0 dates to dating 3 women at once. He is a 26-year-old software engineer in the Bay Area. Here is his before and after. In this video, we talked about his journey going from not dating any women and having a dry spell for years to now dating 3 women at the same time. Okay, so I'm here with my client Donald. Thanks for being here, Donald. You recently went from not going on any dates to having 3 women that you're dating at once in your life. So congrats on that. And thanks for being here. So why don't you kind of take us to the beginning? Where were you before you started working with me?
Yeah, so basically, before I was here, I would consider myself an opportunistic dater. So basically, what that would means, if you're not familiar with that, is I just get opportunities as they come. People in my social circle, the opportunities presents itself. I kind of detect the body language, like, hey, let's grab a coffee. Knowing that, it's not the best way to approach things because there's only going to be a limited subset of women that, first of all, are in your social circle, and
Mhm,
two, are going to be interested in you, and
mhm,
three, show the signs, right?
mhm,
So as a
mhm,
result, there's a lot of missed opportunities there. And
mhm,
another part of it was just laziness, right? I would always put off dating because at the root of it, I always kind of was a workaholic, right? I always was interested in business and whatnot. So I'm like, let's get rich first. Let's make money first. And then, I'll be more attractive and then I'll be able to get my dream woman, right?
mhm,
So there was always that aspect of, procrastination, and I would always dismiss advice from my mentors when it was in regards to dating. So some of the advice that they did give us is like, if you let one area slip in your life, it's going to affect the other area, right? So I would oftentimes block out all that information, and I end up listening to people who are just like, you got to go all out, you got to sacrifice everything. And that was always the situations that resonated with me,
mhm,
and I'm kind of very stubborn. So it took me about 5 years to get to the point where it was kind of like, this shit isn't working out for me. Let me try to listen closely to the advice that I've been kind of putting off to the side, and let
mhm.
me try to work on my dating life. I know I have the skills, and if I can read body language from women from my social circles, there's nothing really stopping me from doing the same with I call them cold prospects because I'm from sales,
Mhm,
but just women that you haven't met before. So
mhm,
I'm like, you know what? Let me work on my dating life at this point in time, right? So I started to look into kind of the whole dating industry, but the problem is there's a lot of sleazy people, right? There's a lot of people who spend more time selling their courses than working on, improving their course, right? So I kind of started joining dating groups, and as a result, a lot of coaches started, adding me.
mhm,
They go into the groups, and it's kind of your typical reach out, and then I'd let them see what they were pitching to me. And a
mhm,
lot of the times they're kind of sleazy about it. Like I would, it's like, oh, how many women are you getting, bro? It was kind of, I understand where they're coming from, but it just kind of turned me off, right? Because you didn't really lead with value, and you're too invested in selling your course as opposed to letting the opportunities come to you, which is one of the sales methods that has always worked for me. Is I kind of resonate with people who like, post YouTube videos. They ask for really nothing in return. And then that would make me kind of more want to work with them
Yep,
because they weren't actively selling their course, right? The
yep.
sleazy course sellers have always kind of turned me off, and for good reason, because to be honest, I've gotten scammed from that. But that was kind of where I was before. And then we can also talk about what we have done within the program if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, let's dive into it. Yeah, but real quick, just kind of reiterate on the things you were saying at first. It's like, one, you were just basically relying on your own social circle, which, for everybody, like no matter how big your social circle is, it's small. The amount of single women in there, and for you to like not pollute it and mess it up is like very, very difficult. And then also, like the second point that you hammered pretty hard was like, you were so focused on business and the grind and work and like one day I'll have more money so I can whatever get my more dream or ideal girl or whatever, but it's like evidently you were able to take action on dating and get results already, even though 5 years, 10 years down the line, you're going to be like way, way more successful still. But yeah, kind of like piggybacking on those 2 points, like what did you implement? What did you think of the journey up to this point, and kind of like where are you now with dating?
In terms of my results, I am seeing three women on a consistent basis. So I'll rotate week by week, seeing them like just once a week kind of thing, keeping it nice and casual. I just think that that's a good way for me because it prevents me from like falling in love and doing stupid shit, which is which is what a lot of people end up getting into is like they start simping for women and it's like, oh, you're
Well,
the
let's
best thing that
elaborate
ever
on that.
happened.
When you say
Yeah.
do stupid shit, like what do you mean by that?
Mostly simping with women. It's like, buying them gifts, taking them to really expensive restaurants to win over their love, which is what I've learned is you can't buy love, right? They either love you or they hate you,
Right.
right? So I just try to give them good experiences and have them remember the times that we spent rather than the money that I spend on them, right?
Hmm.
Because it's the same in life, right? You buy a Ferrari, it does the same thing as a Corolla, right? The Ferrari is a little bit nicer, but it still gets you from point A to point B. So it's like cut out the middleman, just provide them a good experience.
The thing about money that guys don't understand is like money is just a vehicle to provide that experience, right? So women want that experience, and especially what is the experience? The experience is about the emotions that go through your body and your mind when you're doing the thing, right? So you can bypass all of those things if you can just create those emotions, which doesn't require a ton of money, right? You could create those
Exactly.
emotions just sitting in the park having an ice cream, having a few laughs and jokes and stuff, right? That woman is going to have a very deeply etched into her psyche memory versus if you like take her to $1,000 dinner, but there's no laughing, there's no deep talks, there's no bonding, there's nothing happening there.
Yeah, and I just think that sitting across from a woman on like a first date is kind of awkward. I've never done dinner dates. I've I've done lunch dates. I've done really expensive lunch dates, but I can never get myself to do like a full-on dinner date with somebody who wasn't my girlfriend. That's kind of been always my kind of spiel. It's like, how can I have fun? That's my main thing. It's like, if this girl wasn't here, I'd still have a good time. That's kind of the experience how I want. It's like you're accompanying me in my life,
Mhm.
and I'm just taking you through a day in my life, basically. That's kind of
Yeah,
how I like
there
to
you
approach
go.
dating. And that's
Absolutely.
one of the things that I've also gathered from your program. It's just like, just have an experience with them. That's kind of the thing. Just let loose, have an experience. Don't think too much about the results and,
Mhm.
oh, am I doing well on this day? I'm like, who gives a shit? It's like you could, because it's not linear, right? You're not having a good experience or a bad experience. There have been times where I've had bad dates that on future dates end up turning good. So it's not like a bad date is the end all be all. It's like an overall experience. So
Mhm.
that's kind of one of the things I've learned. And
Mhm.
obviously there's the technical part of it. It's like, posing and then good
Yeah.
photo shoot and that kind of thing, which is obviously helpful because I rarely ever take photos of myself. So it is kind of a good thing to learn, but yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And what came to mind when you were talking about like the experiences or like there's no good or bad days, like what I always like to say is like, you either have a great date or you learn something, right? Because every date is two things. It's either skill building or data gathering, right? Either you build some skills, you get better with your jokes or like touching or conversation stuff like that, build up your own confidence, or you gather data on like, is this the type of woman I like? What traits does she have? What traits does she not have? And then as you build up both of those banks, basically like banks of data and the banks of skills, you're gonna one day come across a woman who matches what you're wanting, and then you're gonna have the skill set to be able to attract her in that moment.
Yeah, exactly. And not just and the skill set's really important because it's like I think a lot of people get attached to the one. I mean, I kind of might be biased because I'm not looking for one right now, but I
Mhm.
think a lot of people put too much importance on that and then
Mhm.
it fucks it up.
Like I like what you're doing because okay, you're not looking for the one right now, but you're practicing the skills of having women in your life, and you're good at that, and you have the ability to do that. And then also you're gathering data on, what these women like bring to your life. And then when it comes time, you can just choose one, right? Also, like you were saying, like not doing something stupid, not simping or whatever. It's like if you're only laser targeting for the one, you're gonna do a lot of things that are kind of dumb because you have all your eggs in one basket, right? It's like if you invest in one stock, you hope that that's the crypto, right? Maybe it can go
Yeah.
to the moon, but probably it's going to go to shit. And you're going to have a lot of investment in that one thing not going to shit, that you're going to do a lot of behaviors that turn her off. Whereas if you're coming from a place of like, I have various prospects, different women that I'm seeing, and I'm going to choose one, then you're allowing them to do the work of showing you why you should choose them. You're not the one trying to like cling on that one girl and please, I'll make you my girlfriend, that kind of thing. So I think that's like a good position where you're in right now. I mean, when do you see yourself maybe like going with one girl, or do you see that down the line?
I don't know. I kind of don't want to commit right now. I'm still fairly young. So for those of you watching on the channel, I am in my late 20s. So to me, I have time. It could be a little bit different depending on what your goals are in life. But for me, my priority right now is to build a skill set and build a career. So that's where I am in my life right now,
Mm,
is I'm dating for the skill set, not for a particular result, which is something that I've learned that is actually beneficial for me, is because you have to gain the skill set before you gain the result, right? You
mhm.
can't go in asking for everything when you don't have the skill set. That's something I learned running my own business and whatnot. Is like you can't go in and ask for like $5,000 a month when you don't have $5,000 of skill set to
Value.
offer, right? It's kind of like build your skill first and then you can start to go for a certain target. I know it's kind of hard, especially for those who kind of discover you later in life, but you really got to develop the skill set first. And the only way to do that is through volume. I self-admittedly and am not going like all out on dating, right? But if you wanted it that way, then all you have to do is go on 10, 20, 30, keep going on dates, and then you'll learn the skill set a lot faster,
Mhm.
right? For me, I'm taking my time, I'm taking things nice and slow. But I think for those of you that are watching on the channel right now, I think if you want to develop that skill, just volume, volume, volume. Keep going on dates. You're going to fuck up a lot of them, but you're going to learn a lot of lessons.
Yeah, on that topic, man, like, you know, in the program, what are the things that have helped you the most, including like specific parts of the videos, the coaching, the community? Like, how has all of that helped you along the journey?
I think one of the main things is obviously the community. I've always resonated best with the strong community because it shows you that you're not alone in the journey, right? There's other people that are like-minded like you that are going on the same journey that come with different skill sets, right? So there's some people in the program that have never gone on a date, and there's other people who are dating multiple women, right? And you can learn from each and every person because every person, no matter what their experience in the past is different. Somebody who's just starting out their journey, you can learn from them because they have a different skill set than you, skill set, quote unquote, or a different set of qualities to offer, as opposed to someone who's been doing this for like 10 plus years, like Coach Jeff in the program. You're going to learn a different skill set from him, right? Because one of the things I've learned in the program is there is no right answers in dating, right? There are general guidelines,
Yep, yep.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But what works for one woman is an absolute turnoff for another.
Mm-hmm.
So that was another thing that I've kind of learned through the journey is just let go of the result, right?
Yep.
Because whether you think it's a good date or a bad date is all dependent on her, and you can control her, right? So just focus on having fun and enjoying the experience, and then that's actually gotten me a lot further than I thought it would, to be honest with you. Is just uh being kind of outcome independent is my main thing. It's like it doesn't matter if she likes me or not. It doesn't matter because I can't control whether she does. There are
Mm-hmm.
things I can do to influence it, but ultimately it's not up to me.
Yep.
Ultimately it's up to her to decide. And it's like if you like me, great. If not, so be it as well. Either way, I had fun and that's all that matters.
And that's a really good mindset, like being outcome independent, not being dependent on whether the girl comes back for another date or validates you or whatever. But then the flip side of that is that some guys will hear that and be like, okay, I shouldn't try hard or I shouldn't try at all, right? Or I should just kind of free flow and just go off the cuff. Well, no, because there's also what you said earlier is that there's general guidelines for you what you want to do in order to make the date go well, but then ultimately whether the experience goes well or whether it's a good mutual fit between the two of you, that's out of your control. But it's still in your control to take it in a direction where like it could go well, which is like, that's the foundation of skill set to learn, knowing that not every single person's gonna like get along magically with you. So, and I like what you said about the community too. It's like different people are at different stages of the game. You can always learn something from somebody who's a newbie or somebody who's like way ahead of the game. And then also what I found for me when I'm in different communities is like, if I'm giving back to people who are like below me, quote unquote, or less experienced, right? Me just by teaching something or by formulating my thoughts and then putting it into the group, as a form of value, then I actually solidify my understanding better. So I like being in a group where I can like take my thoughts and like feed them into other people. But real quick, man, I wanted to also, have you talk about your YouTube, like that's part of the dating journey, your self-development journey. How has this program fed into your YouTube? What are you doing with your YouTube now?
So right now my niche is in like the technical realm of self like coding and whatnot, but I do want to turn it into kind of a self-improvement channel, whether that be splitting it off into one. But actually, I explained this a little bit earlier about, being so focused and kind of broadening my my experience and working on those weak areas. So actually what I've noticed is I've exponentially gained followers and happen to monetize my YouTube channel by working on my dating skill. Now, you might be thinking, if you're watching the YouTube channel, how does that work? Well, one of the things that I've noticed is I'm not too focused on the numbers and making stupid shit decisions. It's like, oh, I had an off day, my views are not as good as it used to be. Let me change something. Let me delete the video. And then YouTube is a non-linear game. So it's like
Yep.
your video could do really, really bad at the beginning, but then it could shoot up and go viral at any point in time. I'm going on dates. I'm not focused on looking at the number on my YouTube studio. I'm not like refreshing to see if I gain another subscriber. And then as a result, since I'm not looking at it, it just so happens that people are liking my content and my channel's growing exponentially. So it's funny how things work out when you're working on all areas of your life and not hyper focused on one. And that's just one of my observations. And it just so happens being in the program and working on my dating life has also helped me in my business career. So, hey ho.
Yeah, man, I've always thought that dating was the most, I don't know, all-encompassing form of self-development. Like, it's the one area where you can't really, you need to work on everything else too. Work on your finance and you work on your fitness, you work on your fashion, like all the things feed into it. Whereas like, who knows, you could like get into really good shape or something without having anything in terms of finances or dating, for example, right? But dating, you kind of need to like have a baseline of all of them. And then it really helps when you can like boost those different areas. And I like seeing how, you're actually incorporating these same principles from dating into the business and from business into dating, and then like having this like positive cycle going up and up. What's your goal with the YouTube channel? Give us a plug for like what we can expect down the line.
Yeah. So at some point, I want to help guys just like yourself master their finances, their fitness, and their dating because all of them, like you said, are related to each other, right? So if you have your finances in order, if you have your body in order, if you have your dating life in order, it does well for all areas of your life, right? There are people who are super rich, like Elon Musk, who completely suck with women, right? So if you work on one area of your life, like I think he dated Amber Heard twice, and I think he remarried at some point, and then obviously he's one of the most brilliant people in the world. But that's kind of showing that he still struggles with that. Like I think he had like a mental breakdown when he broke up with Amber Heard for the second time.
Yep.
So it doesn't serve you to just focus on one area of your life. You have to focus on one area. And sure, if you there is an aspect that if you divert your focus, you might not be as rich as Elon Musk, but for example, but is that really what you want? Do you want to be the richest man in the graveyard kind of scenario?
Yep.
It's like there's only so much money that you can make. There's only there's only there's only like you can get down to 4% body fat, but is that really going to make you happy? And as someone who's been
Yeah.
that skinny, it is terrible. You rather be at like 10 to 12% body fat and have kind of that beach body kind of look and
Mm-hmm.
still be able to go out, still be able to eat your favorite foods as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to being 4% where you have to control every single gram of food that you take into your body. It's
Mm-hmm.
right. There's a balance that's going to provide the most happiness. And I think people that work on, their finances at the root of it, they're just chasing happiness, right?
There you go.
And they think
Mm-hmm.
that being rich is going to get them there, but it's only when you get to that point where you realize I'm still not happy with where I am in life.
I would even argue that most guys or all guys who are chasing finances are using it because, at the root of it, like we want women,
Yeah, exactly.
evolutionarily as animals, we want to reproduce. Like, why do we go for money, power, fame, status? Because we want to reproduce and we want to reproduce with the best female possible. And it's like, why are we trying to get jacked? Because we want to get girls. Why are we trying to make money? Because we want to get girls. Well, it's like, yeah, those things help, but also at the end of the day, don't kill yourself boosting those two things and ignoring actually getting women, which is a entirely other skill set. Just like you said, like Elon Musk, he sucks with dating. Like, he can get women, but it's like trash women throwing themselves at him. And so, this is a whole entire other skill set that, like, if you have a baseline in these other things, yeah, like work on your dating so that it's not this thing that gets like left off at the last minute. And then you don't have that balance, so to speak.
Yeah, and I think the sooner that you work on this, the better off you'll be. I know there's going to be a lot of people that maybe are in their late 30s to 40s, but
Mhm.
at the same time, the earlier you get into this, the more outcome independent you are because you don't have that kind of ticker. It's like, oh, I gotta get married now. I gotta find the one, so no pressure, if you don't have the finances, then don't worry about it. Just work on volume. Just, approach women. You're gonna fuck up a lot of times. I
Mhm.
think one of the things that I've learned through spending tens of thousands of dollars in mentorship is they don't provide you the results. All they do is get you faster. So they know kind of the pitfalls that you fall into. It's like if you had kind of a roadmap of all the landmines that were in a certain field, the coaches would say avoid here, avoid there, avoid there. But
They go that
at
way.
the heart of it, you still need to do the work, You still need to put the volume in. Like if you sign up to his program, you're not going to magically become a G with women. You're still going to have to do the work. You're
Mhm.
still going to have to go on many, many dates, but
Mhm.
perhaps he's going to get you there faster. And that's basically what the benefit of mentorship really is at the core of it, because I have spent a lot of money on mentorships as yourself. And I'm sure you can attest to that as well.
Absolutely, man. Like I've spent so much, tens of thousands. I think over 100,000 now between business, health, spirituality, therapy, dating, blah 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 blah, everything. And I have like 8 active mentors right now that I pay on a monthly basis for every area of my life because I don't want any area of my life to fall and crash and die. Right. I want an insurance plan in place to make sure that if anything happens, if there's an emergency anywhere, I have somebody that I can call who's immediately going to help me fix it. Um, but yeah, man, let's wrap this up here real quick. What's your YouTube channel name?
Yeah, so my YouTube channel name is just Donald Dang, which is first name and last name. You can probably search it on Google, but Alex will link it in the description box below.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, if you're interested in self-development content, coding related content, then Donald's your guy. So give him a subscribe or at least check out his channel. And yeah, man, massive thanks, Donald, for coming here and sharing your story today. I'm sure this was inspirational for a lot of guys. And yeah, appreciate you joining.
Yeah, for sure. And don't forget to like and subscribe to Alex's channel as it really helps support him.
Thank you, sir. Yes, like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.